Let's see. Because I'm the big flirt, Latino.
Hello, 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 and welcome into a little dive into Jorrun's public dating history. So believe it or not, but Sorry Sip of Water has been looking through a lot of Jorrun content recently, and one thing I noticed is that every video there would be a new ethnicity and girl to talk about. So you got the Lebanese girl in some of them, you got the Squirters, you got the Brazilian, the Irish, and it was all starting to sound a little unbelievable for me. I mean, I know that Jorrun is a very good looking and charismatic guy, so it shouldn't be that unbelievable, but as a beta, it did make me a little jealous. So, as a very normal, well-adjusted human being, I decided that I would actually record everything. And you can tell this document isn't it isn't too well formatted. And that's because it was just going to be for me and anyone else that wanted to see it. But I think that science shouldn't be in the hands of a privileged few, but should be for the people. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, the people. I don't think that I buy all of this that we have right here. It sounds more like somebody just trying to kind of brag about all the chicks that he's dated. So yeah, we're gonna count up all the women that he's named here, but yeah, I think this is kind of like an argument you have, and then when you go home and you take a shower, you think about, a line that would have really taken them down. I think this is kind of like that. He thinks about women that he knew, and he's like, oh, I swear, if I just asked her out, she totally wanted me. So I think it's something like that. And yeah, let's go ahead and start off. We got the and also I'm probably missing a lot of stuff. For example, there was a live stream with TCAP Recipes where he said that they talked about crazy girls that they dated. So if anybody has any recollection of those streams, or no, just any, because he said he had 50 videos up. So if anybody knows any ladies that he talked about that I'm not listing here, go ahead and just leave a comment. I'm probably missing some just from the regular videos too, because I can't pay attention to Jorrun for 2 hours. I tune out sometimes. So we start off with the Southern Belle X from Florida, who Jorrun constantly reminds us that she dressed amazingly. And this is the one where it helped him tell the story about how women that wear sneakers to bars are slovenly, is the word that he'd like to use. So we've got one right here, and then after that we've got he dated a wide variety: black, Puerto Rican, Mexican, and a wide variety of white, particularly Irish. So 1, 2, 3. And then this is up to interpretation right here. The wide variety of white, particularly Irish, but I think that has to be at least 5, right? Because he's saying, actually it comes in the next line from the Candy stream. He says he dated a lot of Irish girls. So that sounds more than, like 2 to me, a lot more the way he phrases it. But I'm just going to go ahead and say 3 because I don't want to, inflate the count too much. So we're going to go with 3 Irish ladies, and then we got these other 3, so we've got 6, and then plus Southern Belle, we've got 7. Alright, and then we've got the Hot Brazilian X, and this is from the West Moist chatlog. We've got the Hot Brazilian X that was off and on for 8 years until January, and he thought she was a soulmate. One thing that really strikes me as odd about this Hot Brazilian X is the fact that we've never heard of her before. She was in a relationship with Jorrun, according to him, for 8 years off and on, until just a couple of months ago in January. And I don't know when the stream took place, but it was probably like March or something. So it was a fresh wound, and he thought it was his soulmate. And he doesn't mention her at all when he's talking about the wide variety of women he's tagged. The other thing that, do you really believe, and this is playing into stereotypes, because, we're trying to get into the mind of Jorrun. So he thinks completely in stereotypes. But Brazilian woman, do you think he would be able to keep himself from bragging about a hot Brazilian ex for so long, right? Like, Brazilian women, again, this is a complete stereotype, but they have like a good reputation, I guess you could say, in the US. So how would he be able to keep himself from constantly bragging that he had a hot Brazilian ex? Especially one that would be so recent that it would probably still sting, actually. Maybe that's why, shit. He was so in love with her that he couldn't bear to think about her, but yeah, something's fishy about him not mentioning Brazilians in some of these other places. Then we got the Mexican girl named Kathleen, who we heard about in the roast. We don't know much about her other than she has a real Mexican name, which is Kathleen, which I'm pretty sure was part of the joke in the roast, which was very humorous. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11. So we're already at 11. And now we've got the Lebanese girl who wanted him to fly out to bang her 8 to 10 years ago. This was also in the West Moist chat log. And this might be the most unbelievable one for me. Because apparently she was a belly dancer, right? So don't you have to be in shape to be a belly dancer? And we don't know her age. He doesn't say anything, but he did say that she wanted him to fly out to bang her. In Las Vegas, of all places. Don't you think that she could have found someone a little better than Jorrun in Las Vegas? It's like the #1 party capital of the world. #1, for go out to the club and everything. There's no way she could have found, somebody else, to the point where she's going online and she's asking Jorrun. And this is only 8-10 years ago, so he was 40 years old still. And this Lebanese girl, she wanted him to fly across the country for her, which is, in my mind, a little unbelievable. And then let's go back to the hot Brazilian ex, because I just remembered something. That this does sound, and they said it in the Alpha Male Derrick reading of the chat log, but this does sound like some weird internet relationship. So it makes me wonder if any of these other ones that he's talking about is the same situation. And then we've got 2 girlfriends who were squirters before. This from the Mac and Cheese chat log. And this doesn't actually add any to your account here, because the beautiful thing about humans is that we do all have different, eye colors, skin colors, hairstyles. But at the end of the day, we can all produce squirters. So that doesn't matter based on your race. It's just something that, you're lucky enough, I'm not sure, to have. So yeah, that's not going to add anything to our little list here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright, so 13, the Lebanese girl, I guess he never said anything about dating her or her being an ex or anything. But yeah, let's count her as, because she wanted to bang Jorrun according to him. So let's go ahead and count her. So then this one is from the Worst Story Ever Told, which you can find on the Alpha Male Derrick channel by my sponsor. And he slept in the same bed as the dowdy brunette. So there's one lady there he was at a burlesque, I believe that's what it's called, a convention. And there was a dowdy brunette, in case you haven't had the pleasure of listening to the story yet. And he slept in the same bed as her. Well, his friend was getting laid, but he didn't get anything else. And then the next day, he had a date with a different girl. And this was in 2009. So yeah, he claims he had a date the day after this. So do we count the dowdy brunette? I mean, she did get into a bed with him, but you know what? We're not gonna count her. But we will count this. Well, actually, because he says he had a date with a different girl, but that could also be any of these girls. So you know what? I'm gonna count the dowdy brunette, just so this story gets a +1. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Alright, so we're up to 14 women that Jorrun has specifically told us wanted to either bang him or were his ex-girlfriends or something. And then we've got this last thing right here, that he keeps finding dream girls online that think he's all that, but they live on a different continent. So this sounds a little fishy to me. This kind of sounds like some mail order brides or that want him to keep on paying money to talk to them or something like that. But yeah, so I guess the way he meant it was he was finding girls in like Sweden and stuff that loved him and thinks he's all that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, that's what he claims. And then this is just a little bit of extra down here. This is just a few things that I also picked up on. I didn't write down all of these times he talked about how hard it was to keep a relationship, but you know, we got he dated some crazy woman, which he said on the infamous P stream, where he whipped out his horse thing. And then he told Wes he needed to talk to a specialist about problems with relationships. And he specifically said, I have been unsuccessful all my life with relationships. Which is weird for a guy that has dated 15 women up here. Although, you know, he doesn't say length of time other than this 8 years right here, so. I mean, both of them they're not mutually exclusive. He's been unsuccessful, and then all these ones I just name dropped, but I don't even think these ones are real, the ones I just name dropped, at least most of them. Okay, so this was from the interview with mini syllables where he was talking about how women he was dating did leave him because of the genie stuff, and he said he never forced anything on it, but he did ask persistently, which I'm guessing in Jorrun talk persistently that he was probably not forcing them, but you know, he probably was kind of persistent about it. Well, that's actually what he said, I believe, persistent asking. But alright, and then the last one from the West chat, he just said he had no long-term luck with women. While doing this outro, I noticed a slight miscalculation. that would take away 2 from our total. And there's going to be some text on the screen showing the correct count, because the Southern Belle from Florida, she could be any of these ladies, and the Mexican girl named Kathleen could be the Mexican from the Dated a Wide Variety line. So yeah, we gotta take 2 off of our count, but that's still a pretty large amount of women that he has mentioned here for someone that also says he has been unsuccessful all my life with relationships. And yeah, I think that's about all. I will see you guys later for another dive into this insanity.